What's good, everybody? It's your boy Mario.
Hey, it's Maisha.
And we are naked and unashamed. Look,
Yes.
I am excited about this video. We are finally going to talk about something that we both have been really wanting to share with people.
That's true, babe. But listen, we did a poll about a week ago, and we asked our subscribers, what do y'all want to hear next from us? And the results are in, baby. The people have spoken.
They spoken. Story time.
Story time was overwhelming. So, but it fit because we have been wanting to tell you guys our story, our testimony actually about how God gave us
our house. How God blessed us with our new house.
So it's a story time, but it's also a testimony. So I know y'all love a good testimony. I pray that this encourages y'all, but we just going to dive right on in. Listen, go ahead if you haven't already. Click the like button, subscribe, and share this testimony with somebody. Let me tell you, it's good that you share a good word, right? It's good that you share what God has done for your brother and for your sister over here.
For real.
You ready?
Yeah, baby, let's go.
Okay, I'm going to kick it off, but I'm going to pass the mic to Mouthpiece Mario so he can also add in. This is an amazing story, you guys. So we're going to take you all the way back to 2020, right? January 2020. Listen, I started out overseas working. Mario was at home with the girls, right? And in 2020, January, that's when we came together and said, listen, we have been renting a house for 7 years. And let me tell you guys something. Mario can attest. In those 7 years, like, God did an amazing work, not only in our family, in our marriage, in our finances. And we felt like being in our rental home for 7 years was kind of like us showing, you know what, Lord, we thank you for this another chance. Yeah. We're going to be faithful. We're going to be obedient. And y'all, we was obedient. We was there for 7 years. We give God the glory. But your girl and your boy, at the beginning of 2020, we was faithful and we was grateful, but we start feeling that 7-year itch, you know,
Absolutely.
and to say it was time to go. And so one of the big things, and we always laugh about this, but when I was overseas working, I was on detail for about 30 days. And within those 30 days, our landlord had started working on the exterior of the house. Yeah. He had it in his mind that he was going to repaint the house. And that was good, right? Y'all want a fresh coat of paint on your house, except the contractors that our landlord got to do the work just basically was slow with painting the house. And when I came back,
let me interject just a little bit. They wasn't slow, they was shabby. That's the best word I could say. They were supposed to be coming just to paint the house, but some of the wood was rotting on the outside of it. It was chipped. It was a lot. So they basically had to start replacing the panels on the outside of the house, then start painting the house.
Oh my God.
So that's just a whole another leg of work that they had to do. So
that makes a lot of sense, because when Mario picked me up from the airport, he warned me. He was like, baby, I know we was planning on having this house all fixed up on the outside, but I'm letting you know right now, it is not done.
What happened was they started working on the house. All right, they started working on the house. So the girls are going to school, I'm going to work, and I will come home, half the house be stripped. And you know, when you strip the panels off of a house, all you have is that insulation and stuff you see. So, I mean, the whole block, everybody looking like, what are they doing? And the guys that was doing the house, they was just like, they would work for a whole day or 2 days, and then they would take 3 days off.
They didn't care.
Now, Maisha is out of the country for 30 days. So I'm sitting here monitoring these guys, and I'm like, coming home from work, and I'm like, man, I thought y'all would have been done with that whole side of the house. Y'all ain't even done with that whole side of the house.
At least by now. Come on, guys.
So this is the frustration that I was facing every day, coming home from work and seeing that. And so I knew Maisha was flying back in. I had to pick up from the airport, and my whole thing was, all right, when she come home, I want her to feel welcome, the house to be ready.
Yeah, so basically we rolled up to the house, and I saw the house, and it looked like a a packet of mustard. It was mustard.
It was this color.
That was the wood. And just imagine you coming home from a long trip. You just want to see a beautiful house and stuff like that. I pulled up. And in my mind, in my mind, I said, this is the last year that we're going to be in this house. Right. I was so upset. So that's 2020. Okay, January 2020, this was our 7th year in a leased house. We pulled up to the mustard color house and said, that's it. We are moving on from here this year. So listen, so everybody knows what happened March 2020, right? So we took y'all from January 2020, me coming back from overseas, pulling up to this house, and me making an internal vow. I'm not going to be living here for the rest of all this year. We leaving. So February, life is going normal, but then March of 2020 hits and big break,
pandemic.
Right? What happens?
COVID,
pandemic, the world shut down, stores, businesses, they closed and said, hey, y'all don't have to go home, but you got to get up out of here. Matter of fact, they did say y'all go home and quarantine. So for my job, I immediately started working from home. They said that you guys can work remotely. Our girls at the time, one was in middle school, one was in elementary school. They had to go home too. So it was me and the girls at home. Mario is essential.
I was an essential worker.
So he still had to leave the house.
Still had to work, right.
So it was me and the girls at home. March 2020, tons of stuff going on. You guys, y'all remember, the news was saying one thing. People were scared. People were worried. I was working from home and the girls were at home doing school from home, right? So I remember one day, it was like in April. I could probably remember the exact date if I really think about it. It was April 16th. Anyway, April 16th, 2020, I'll never forget. My youngest daughter, Morgan, she comes into my bedroom where I'm working, right? And she looks at me in the face and she said, Mommy, God said, start now. Now, when she said that, I immediately knew that she had heard from God, and I knew what the Holy Spirit was telling her, because in my mind and in my heart, I knew that it was time for us to move out of this house. I was like, I don't know if we're moving into an apartment or we're going to move into a new home, but we have got to get up out of this leased house. But then I started thinking about, you know what? It's time for us to have our own home. Right. We haven't owned our own home in a very long time. I was like, I believe God wants us to have our own home and for us to start now. Mm-hmm. Now, the amazing thing about that is, who would think about starting a home buying process in the middle of a pandemic? I know who. God would.
Absolutely.
God directed us to do it. And so I was like, wow, Lord, okay, well, I got to get my better half. I got to hear what he has to say and hear what the greater one is saying on the inside of him. So here I go calling Mario at work because he's essential. I'm at home chilling. I'm like, hey, babe, I believe we heard from God. Mario, who heard from God? Me and Morgan. Wait, what y'all talking about? Morgan came in and told me, this is what I'm telling Mario, that God said start now. And I believe that God is saying for us to start now with our home buying process. Mario, tell the people what you said.
Well, I was like, girl, please. and really, because we had been there for 7 years, we had been through a lot. Yeah. We had spent a lot of years working on our credit. So our credit was just getting to a good place. And me, I'm somewhat of a perfectionist. So I'm kind of like, man, we can just get it up a little bit higher. Maybe we just need to wait. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we just need to wait. And I'm thinking about, we're going to have down payment. We're going to have just all of the extra stuff that would tell you no and wait that ain't got nothing to do with faith. I'm just keeping it real. However, I had good intentions, but that was where my mindset was at the time. So when she told me that, I said,
tell me what you
I was like, no. I was like, no. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is, one thing about me and Maisha, the way that we work, and we took I think it was like a personality test or something. And it basically the way we work is she'll jump out there. It's almost like somebody jumping out there but can't swim. She'll jump out there, and then I can't sit there and watch her out there, so I got to get out there. So, but a lot of times, she'll hear from God first on things, and I won't hear from God initially. I might not even agree. And that's kind of how my personality is. A lot of times I have to pray about it. I have to think it through. I have to make sure. That's just my checks and balances. Yeah. I guess is how I am.
It works.
And it works. So basically, I think it was like a few days later, I said, all right.
It wasn't it. He is not even giving himself credit.
Was it?
It was the same day. Like,
you sure?
I'm positive because I'll tell you why I know it was the same day. So we had our discussion on the phone, and ladies, I know my husband. And I know the power of prayer and letting it rest, right? So when he had initially had the pushback and those reservations, it wasn't my job to try to convince him, because this is something kind of new for me too. This was scary. This was something that I was like, Lord, okay, I'm going to do it, but this is you leading, Lord. So I was like, well, if the Lord did tell us to start, he would definitely confirm it with Mario. Mm-hmm. So what happened was, I said, fine. He said, no. I said, fine. We hung up, and the Lord must have been talking to Mario, because maybe 30 minutes later,
was it really that fast?
It was that fast because you know what? About 30 minutes later, I started getting text messages from Mario. Now, we kind of ended like, man, okay, fine. Do whatever you want to, But he started texting me pictures of houses.
Okay.
You remember that?
I do
now,
remember
don't
that,
you?
yeah.
And so I'm gonna go ahead and say it.
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, let me say this.
Go ahead.
He started texting me pictures of houses.
Right.
Because I'm a money person. I'm business minded, right? I used to work in the mortgage industry. So here I go, putting on that mortgage industry hat. I start calculating payments if we would take out a certain amount of a loan and have this percentage as a down payment or this percentage interest rate, what the monthly mortgage payment would be. So when I did all that, I came up with a loan amount, okay? And that loan amount, I was like, this is our hard stop. We not going over. This is it, because I want to get to this monthly payment right here. I didn't communicate that loan amount to Mario. Remember, we hung up off the phone, and I was like, you know what, God, you work with your man, and I'm just going to continue to pray and plead and beg you. I'm just kidding. But you know what I'm saying? I was interceding, right? So when Mario started sending me pictures of the houses, dear brother, he got some good taste.
I don't play.
He don't play. He said, either we going to go big or go home.
Go big or go home.
Absolutely. He started sending me houses. They were beautiful, but they were way above that little loan amount that I had put together.
Listen, I was looking for what I wanted, what she wanted, what the girls always wanted. Like, I didn't even think about the price as much. I was just like, listen, this is what we want. This house got everything that we ever wanted.
Okay. So he sent like 2 or 3 houses that day.
About 3. The
first house he sent, he said, I really love this house. I looked at it. You can go to Zillow or Realtor.com, whatever it is, and you can look at the houses and things like that. And when I looked at that first house he sent, I fell in love with it. And I said, baby, I'm texting, because I ain't going to talk to him right now. I'm texting. And I said, yes, baby, I love that house too, but it is way above our price range. That's what I said. And we left it at that.
Right.
So, because I used to work in the mortgage industry, and like I said, I'm a business and money kind of person, I know the best way to go shopping for anything is to know how much you got to spend. So I was like, before we go looking at houses and falling in love with these houses, let's see what the banks say, because we had to take out a loan, for us to be able to buy a home. And like Mario said, by the grace of God, in those 7 years, we had worked on our credit. We had, gotten, better jobs and had more income coming in. So I knew that we looked good, debt to income ratio and all of that good stuff. So that's a word for somebody. If God has said to do something, you know what? Start preparing now. Look at what you got.
Absolutely.
And if you got to clean up something, well, God is with you. Go ahead and clean it up. All right. So I started saying, listen, baby, we need to talk to the bank and see how much that they will lend us and find out about the terms and things like that. And so, and this story is going fast. Yeah. We're still in the same couple of days after Mario
Absolutely.
and I agree, okay, this is what we're going to do. Well, like we hit the ground running, right? So I remember completing 2 loan applications online. Mm-hmm. And I put in all the information. I filled that loan application out to the T, y'all. Mario and I, we still waiting to hear back from them. That was 2020. It's 2022 now. So we don't know.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we tried that first. Okay.
Yeah. I said, well, what in the world? And so I was like, man. And, that gets a little frustrating. I was expecting at least, an email or a phone call pretty quickly. But let me tell you what God did. I reached out to Mario, and y'all, guess what? This was like a span of like 3 days, because when I asked Mario to do what I'm about to tell you that I asked him to do, it was a Sunday after church. I never forget. So this is within the same week. Y'all know how we do within them weeks. We move fast, right? I remembered I'm going to let Mario tell y'all about something that happened to us a couple of years prior.
Right.
But I remembered working with a loan officer a couple of years ago, and I felt like the Holy Spirit was like reminded me of that person and reminded me to say, you know what, Mario, go ahead and reach out to this brother. So I want Mario to kind of say it from his point of view, what happened, how we got to meet him, and all of that good stuff.
We actually, he was an awesome person. Our loan officer was a loan officer, loan processor.
He's a loan officer is an awesome person.
Awesome person. He is an awesome person. The reason I'm saying that is because we did do a search and we actually made our attempt to look for a house in 2017. Mm-hmm. Now all this is taking place now in 2020. So in 2017, we were trying to get a house before. We didn't have it just wasn't a good experience, but we always remembered, and I got to say his name, because I got to shout him out, Jesse. I got to shout him out. I got to shout you out, Jesse. Because you awesome, and maybe hopefully this bring you even more business. You balling anyway. You doing your thing. But I got to shout you out. But I do remember that it was just a good relationship that we built with him, a good rapport. And to be honest with you, I wasn't even thinking about him. But that's why you just have, as a man, you got to have an awesome wife. So my wife, she just was like, babe, why don't you reach back out to Jesse? And so I was just thinking like, dang, I don't know if I even got his number.
Hey, what did I say?
Facebook. She was like, hit him up on Facebook. So, you connect with everybody on Facebook. So I still was connected to him on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? Hollered at him in the DMs. You know what I'm saying?
He slid in the DM. Hey, man, you still working on mortgages?
Right. So I reached out to him. And it was just real quick. He was just like, I forgot what he actually said, but I know it was just real quick. He was like, send me over.
He sent
the application. So we filled out the application, sent it back to him, and he got back to us. Was the very next day?
It was the next day.
The very next day.
Mario reached out to this brother on Sunday. This was Sunday after church, guys. Right. By Sunday evening, 7:00, we had heard from him. He had sent us the link. He said, complete this application. I completed the application. Monday, Mario goes to work. He gets a call from the lender, from Jesse. And I don't know if they put us on 3-way. Mario put me on 3-way or whatever. But all I know is by close of business Monday, we had been pre-approved. We had our pre-approved letter in hand.
Absolutely.
Come on, y'all. He had pulled credit and come on, hold on. He had pulled credit and everything.
Just that quick.
Verified everything. He was like, man, y'all look good to go, Houston. So we was like, now for us, the reason why I'm throwing up my hands and we smiling, The Houstons ain't always been like that to be like, oh yeah, y'all look good. You know what I'm saying? It used to be Houston, we have a problem. This time it was Houston, we have no problems. So yes, things was going so fast. God is so good. He's just ordering our steps. Now I want to tell y'all this up front. When we made the agreement to start this journey on buying our new home, we only told our daughters.
That's it. We
did not tell anybody else.
Not our sons, not our mothers.
Listen, not our mamas.
Nobody.
Now y'all know how, I don't know if y'all know how I feel about my mama and how Mario feel about his mama.
Right.
And that would have been the first people that we would have told. But we held it in. Right. We said this time we're going to do this as a family, close-knit, tight-knit. So while we're going through this process, I want y'all to be clear that our daughters were going through this process right along with us. Yeah. Every time we had a victory, like contacting Jesse, getting the quick turnaround on the pre-approved letter, we would let the girls know. And their faith just built our faith in so many ways, right? But we kept it quiet. Like, we kept it quiet.
Tell
nobody at work, just no one, right? And that was important to us. We was protecting it. So once we had that pre-approved letter in hand, shoot, it's time to go shopping. It's time to go looking at houses. So, everybody does this, right? You start your internet search and you put in your loan amount and it comes up with houses. Well, y'all, I guess that loan amount wasn't, didn't have a lot of results because we started bringing up houses that was like, oh boy. And we wanted to kind of stay in our same area, in our same county. And our county is a little bougie, it's a little expensive. So it was bringing up houses that were okay, but those houses just didn't have everything that we wanted. So again, I told y'all, we only included our daughters in this whole journey. So we gave our daughters our loan amount. And we was basically like, y'all go find the house then. Pull up what you like.
We always working together. We always working together on this.
So our two daughters, the older one is named Mia, and the youngest one is named Morgan. And so y'all already know about Morgan. That's the little prophetess that came in there and said, God said, start now.
Right.
So it's another Sunday. So this is now 2 weeks after we agreed. 2 weeks later, Sunday, right? There's another Sunday. We got kind of discouraged because we was like, we're pulling up houses within our price range, but they're not, exactly what we wanted and stuff like that. And so our daughter Morgan, the littlest one, she comes down and she's like, Mom, Dad, what's our loan amount again? And I'm like, oh, Lord, this little 11-year-old, what's our loan amount, And we told her, and she was like, she pulled up on her phone. She was like, look at this house. And this is the house that we call the stunt house.
The stunt house. Hold on. Let me just share something on here. So, the stunt house. So, we live in Atlanta, if you don't know. We live in Atlanta. And then you have, in Atlanta, just like in big cities, you have Atlanta, and then you have what you call the outskirts of Metro. And so, the house that Maisha's talking about that we call stunt house was freaking immaculate. That joint had the line of Judah out front.
Listen, y'all. And he's not exaggerating. When he says the Lion of Judah was out front, listen, this was one of those Real Housewives of whatever county or city that you live in, okay? This was the stunt house. We have a saying that, when you're ready to, show off, or you're ready to, dress good and spend money or whatever, that means you're about to stunt on people, okay? I know we got some subscribers that are not from, where we're from. So I wanted to explain that, okay? when you're about to show out, when you're about to be, listen, at the talk of the town,
right.
You're about to stunt on them, okay? And that's what this house was. This house was like on a hill above all the other houses in the neighborhood.
Oh my gosh, hold on. Before she even get there, because now she going into us actually going.
Okay.
It was after church on a Sunday?
It was after church on a
Sunday. Morgan brought that picture to us. I looked at that. I said, what?
And we saw the price of...
And this fit our budget? Our price range?
We said, no, we got to go see
I was like, yo, let's go see that joint now.
So, but here's two things I want to say about that. This house was not as necessarily in the same county.
Exactly.
Or area we wanted to live in. We had to drive a little bit further.
Right.
And it was told to us, hey, when you drive further out of Atlanta, you get more house for your money, right? And so we was like, cool, we can do a little driving. And I was like, you start trying to compromise. It ain't that bad. And then let me tell y'all something. Our older daughter, Mia got on her cell phone and she said, what's the address to the stunt house? So we called this house legit the stunt house. That's the name, okay? So Mia pulls up the address and then she starts looking at their school systems. And I'm sorry to tell y'all, but the stunt house was not in a good school system.
And this is the first time that that we had ever seen her be like, look, y'all, I care about my education.
That's what she said to us. She's like 12 years old. I care about no, she's 13. I care about my education. I want to go to a good college. And these writings right here are good. And we like,
man,
girl.
That was hilarious.
So Mario is right. So it was after church. We had ate good. Morgan brings up this picture of the stunt house. Mario was like, well, shoot, let's go ride over there right now.
We just had to see it.
We got in the car and we drove on over there. Now, remember, guys, we are still in the middle of a pandemic. And your brother and your sister and they 2 kids is out and about traveling to go see some house, okay? So we would travel all the way there. And it was indeed, soon as you pulled up, it was indeed a stunt house.
Oh my God.
It was one of those houses, where you can drive up and go all the way around and kind of that. It was a hill, guys. The house was on a hill. Mario said the Lion of the tribe of Judah was out front because it was 2 lion statues. Like, how they're like looking at each other. And it's like a fountain.
And then they had a water fountain in the front.
I was like, that's it. Show me where the sign. I don't even need to see the inside. Oh, we about to be stunting on all y'all. We gonna be looking down and be like, look what God did. So the crazy thing is, like, we just popped up unannounced and it was vacant. And make a long story short, the seller's agent was there at the house. I guess just finishing up or doing something.
Just so happened to be there.
We didn't call ahead, nothing, y'all. We just showed up and we was able to kind of look around the perimeter. And the seller's agent said, how about y'all come back tomorrow and then we can actually go view the house. I don't think it was ready to be viewed at that time. Right. And we were like, sure. We gave her a time where we could come back the next day. And we came back the next day. So on our way home, driving, we like, you know what? While we're out here, let's see if there's any other houses that we're interested in. So I want Mario to tell you guys about one house that he was really interested in seeing.
Well, it was a house, and it has a name as well.
What's the name of this house?
It wasn't Stunt House.
What was it?
Unfortunately. It was called Cabin Fever.
He's true.
Listen.
He's right.
Listen. Now, I ain't gonna lie. They was ragging on me. I saw, because, you can go on Zillow and still see little bit pictures of the inside. But it had, like, this wall. It wasn't walnut. It wasn't walnut. It was hard. It was that yellow wood. And it was on the inside, though. It was nice on the outside, but on the inside, it was just like, and from the pictures, I'm like, man, that's different though. Let's check that joint out. And
we couldn't get in.
We couldn't. Did we get in? We didn't get in that day.
We didn't get in that day. We got in the next day.
Okay, so that was another house that I saw. We couldn't get in, and you know how it is when you're looking at a house. You gonna try to look through the window. So we was on the back deck and all this and all the same thing with we just looking in and try to see what we can see.
Yeah.
So we had our appointment to go back and look at Stunt House the next day.
That's right. So it's the next day. Like I'm telling y'all, this story is quick. I mean, and you gotta just keep up with the timeline.
Follow me.
Come on, follow. So the next day, Mario gets off of work and we travel back up about maybe 30, 45 minutes
from where we were staying.
Where we stayed. Yeah. And we traveled up there because we had an appointment to see the stunt house. And so we was like, we're going to see this house. So when we got there, the seller's agent showed us around, okay? Mm-hmm. We did not even have a real estate agent at the time, you guys.
Right.
No real estate agent. We're just basically going and looking at houses ourselves. So we get to the stunt house, and when we walk in, I mean, it's huge. Like, this house is humongous.
Yes.
We walk through, and, like, this house had, like, 4 levels. Like, there was a basement,
literally,
a main level, and then the 3rd level, and then it was an additional level. Now, by the time I walked up to that, I call it the 4th level, I was like, Lord, I hope I have not entered into the 4th level of hell. Because it was so hot up there.
It was so hot.
I said, oh.
As soon as I got up there, sweat beads just started popping up on my forehead. I was like, good gosh. What the heck? Ain't no AC up here. It was like the attic. They turned the attic into a room. I mean, it was fully carpeted. It was a whole nother bedroom. But go ahead.
Listen, it's funny that you say attic. Because I thought that if I ever told my girls to go up to this 4th level, it would be like the movie The Children. What's it? Flowers in the Attic. And I didn't want my children to even be like, we up in this attic on punishment. I'm like, no, baby, it's y'all's playroom or something like that. So I
play at your own risk.
Play at your own risk. So, you're kind of like, yeah, this is really nice. But in the back of our head, we was like, I don't know about this. There's a lot of floors and a lot of levels. But we was willing to, roll with it because we wanted to be stunting on everybody else. So we was like, thank you very much. And they was like, well, call us. The seller's agent said, call us when you, when you're ready to, either put in an offer or something like that. She said, because there's a lot of offers, on the table. We were like, okay. And so I was like, okay, babe, well, where do you want to go next? And y'all know what he said. He wanted to go to the Cabin Fever house.
Let's go back to Cabin Fever. I wanted to see Cabin Fever again.
He wants to go on the inside this time.
I really, really wanted to go on the inside.
Not just peeking through the
windows.
Like,
with every house, they have, they have the sign out in the yard, and they have the person that's selling the real estate agent that's selling the actual property. Yeah. So it was still like, I was like, listen, the day is young. I gave her a call. I was like, man, she might be near. She might be close. Her name was Robin. It was a white lady by the name of Robin. I'm just going to throw it out there. You know what I'm saying? Didn't know her from Adam. She didn't know us from Adam. And it's important for me to say that because I just feel like God was hooking things up. So her name was Robin. And I called the number that was on the sign. And I said, me and my family are out here at this property, and we would like to see it.
She picks up.
So she picks up, and she's like, y'all want to see it today? And I was like, yeah, let's see. I was like, let's see it today. Let me tell you something. Miss Robin, she's an angel. That to me, she's like an angel. I'm just keeping it real. She was a bona fide angel. Now, she wasn't really an angel, but she was
verified.
Like an angel.
but she's a real person.
But like literally, she had to be 45 minutes to an hour away from us.
Yeah.
Probably, was she showing another property that day?
Oh, she had such a lot of stuff going on. Basically, she said, I can probably get to y'all in about an hour and a half to 2 hours.
I was like, bet, we'll wait. So we went and got something to eat, ate, sat in the car, and we just talked and we waited. So we went back to the house. She met us there, and we was able finally to go inside to see Cabin Fever.
Now, I'm going to insert the reason why y'all saw me huffing and puffing and acting like I was going to blow a house down over here while he's talking about this is because, you guys, I knew from the bottom of my heart that we were not about to buy this cabin fever house. I didn't want to see it. I couldn't understand for the life of me, why are we waiting 2 hours to see a house? I know. It ain't even like the Holy Ghost got to confirm. I know I am not about to live in this house, this cabin fever house. But out of respect for my husband, I said, Lord, you're going to have to make this Arby's sandwich really good and help me with my patience, because we sitting up here waiting for this lady 2 hours while she fighting rush hour traffic to come and see some house that Mario liked. But I know good and well that me and the girls can't stay in this house just based upon them pictures on the phone. I said, Lord, fine. Here I am. I'll see it, but I am not happy about it. Didn't really have no good attitude about it at all. I wasn't mean, but he could tell like Maisha's just really not feeling this, but he didn't care. You see how he looking right now?
I didn't care.
He didn't care.
Listen, let me tell y'all something, ladies. The power, the blessing, the power, and the anointing of submission. She submitted. And out of that, we didn't get that house, right? But Miss Robin.
Yes.
Didn't know her from Adam. She didn't know us. We met her that night. She drove an hour away, fought through traffic just to get to us, to show us that house.
And after that, intentions of buying.
After that, I was like, yo, we didn't have an agent at that time.
We didn't have a real estate agent.
I was like, yo, Robin.
But you want to know something else that Robin did?
We got to rock with Robin.
There's something else Robin did.
Rockin' Robin.
So y'all remember the stunt house, right? Robin, since she out here.
I forgot about that.
I got you, baby.
Was it that same day?
I got you.
The same day.
Just listen up.
Go ahead, baby.
Let me feel it.
Go ahead, baby. Submission. Come on now.
Yes. So while we was out, while she was there and she had showed us the log cabin, I called the log cabin.
The log cabin.
He called cabin fever. So after she showed us that, she was like, well, is there any other properties around here that you want to see? Because she's a real estate agent.
She's
so,
the bomb,
she know how to get in where she fit in. And we were like, yeah, there's one house that we actually just finished seeing a couple of hours before you came. She was like, well, text me the address and we'll go over there. I mean, who does that, right?
Same day.
Yeah.
Hold on. I got to paint this picture. Fought through rush hour traffic to get to us on a drop of a dime. Didn't know us. Mm-mm. Just met us. Came all the way out there to show us that house. And then was willing to show us the house we just looked at again. She didn't know we looked at it. We was talking about it. And she was willing to go over there and show us a whole nother property. And she ain't even our agent at this point.
She's not our agent at this point. Come on, Matter of fact, and I'll be honest with y'all, we never signed a piece of paper saying that she was our agent. And she never asked us up front for our approval letter. That didn't come until later on. Right. So that's why we know, she was a godsend. Yes, like everybody that we've been working with so far, godsend, all right? So we got back to the stunt house. Remember that stunt house, y'all, that we was like, oh yeah. He had that 4th level that felt like Dante's Inferno, but we was willing to overlook that and say, well, long as we can stunt. And meanwhile, remember, our older daughter, she was not happy about any of those houses in that vicinity because of the schools, all right? We were excited about the stunt house because it was like, dang, we are able to get a beautiful house within our price range. So that really encouraged our faith. So we get back to the stunt house with Robin. Mm-hmm. And where the benefit with Robin, I thank God for this. She used to work at an appraiser's office, okay? She knows the appraisal business very well. Home inspection has all the connects, right? So when she goes into the stunt house, she's not looking at the aesthetics like we are. Because we just wanted to be pretty, big, and marvelous, right?
Stunt.
She started looking at the water heater and all of these high price. She called it high ticket items. We're like, oh, because we've never been homeowners before, right? So she starts looking at things and she was like, yeah, look at that the insulation needs to be replaced. Look at these windows. Yeah, they're rotting around the window frame or whatever. She started looking at the high ticket items. She was like, this is about to expire. You probably need to replace this, within a year or so. That can run you about $6,000. Then when we went all the way up to Dante's Inferno, she was like, woo, it's hot out here. Then we went all the way down to the basement when it was freezing cold. She said, whoo, it's cold down here. She said 4 levels to heat in the winter.
Oh my gosh.
4 levels to cool down in the summer. She said, wow, that's going to be a very high electric bill and gas bill. That's when me and Mario said, hold on.
Right. Let's rethink this.
So we got to rethink this. We got to, because she was saying some truth right there. And I said, man. Then we went outside and we kind of looked, and she was like, oh, that pergola right there with the swing that y'all like so much, is the wood is rotten, it's about to break. She said, I wouldn't put my 2-year-old grandchild on that thing. It'll bust down. So we was just like, dang. So it didn't discourage us, because I think that what we learned from the stunt house lesson was, number one, God was able, he can give us a beautiful home in our price range, right? And then second, after all of that, we finally met our real estate agent that we believe God sent. So now we have a God sent mortgage loan officer, and we have a God sent real estate agent. So here we go. It's time to go house shopping. So Mario started communicating with Robin and sent her a couple of houses that we wanted to look at in the place in the vicinity that we originally wanted to live in. And the reason why is because I told you our older daughter, she was not having being in a school that was beneath her standards.
I think it was like the in the other area, the schools was like 6.5 out of 10, some crazy, probably 5.
Yeah, it was low.
So she wanted us to stay in the area, kind of not too far from where our leased house was,
right?
But it was in a more better area, better schools. Everything. I mean, these schools was like 8.5 to 9 out of 10. So the schools were crazy level. So I began to talk it over with Maisha, and I just was like, you know what? We're gonna believe God. I believe that we can find a house in that area, the area we want to be in our price range. So I reached out to Robin, our real estate agent, and I started communicating with her. She started asking me what areas do y'all really want to live in. So I started telling her that we wanted to stay in this particular area where the schools is, and explaining it, this, that. Here's another thing that was a blessing. Okay. I don't know if my wife.
I'm gonna hold it in because I think I know what you're gonna say. That's what I want to say.
In the very area that we wanted to move in was where Robin, our real estate agent, grew up. Come on now. Listen, let me tell you something. When we met Robin, you talking about 45-minute drive from where we're now looking at houses at. No, there's no way that we would have known she grew up, went to the schools in this very area where we were looking, where we wanted to move.
There was no, this could only be God's story.
Come on now.
And she didn't live in this area now. She lived all the way south of the city. So it was God that linked us together. So by the time we started looking at houses, she was like, oh, I know this area. And I know people around here too.
Oh my gosh, it was so awesome. So the thing about that, and this is something that we just came up with as a family. So as we begin to look at these houses, I sent over all of these houses and addresses, and you know how you pull up all the houses on Zillow and Realtor.com or whatever, and I just start saying, I want to look at this house, I want to look at this house, I want to look at this house. Now, when I first sent Maisha a set of houses, I'm talking about at the very beginning, you remember when she called me and I told her no, it ain't ready, and 30 minutes later I was like, babe, here goes some houses, let's look at these houses. Regardless of them being out of the price range, I still wanted to see them. I still wanted to see them.
2.
It was 2 that I definitely just had to see. You know me. I mean, I went and saw Cabin Fever. So if I gotta see, I want to see it. I want to see it. Yeah. So, but one thing that we did as a family, and this is so important. If you married, this is something to take note of. When you get married, this is something to take note of. So as a family, we made a pact, or we came into this agreement that every time we look at a house, we're gonna come home every night, or every time we looked at a house, we would come home. Me, my wife, Maisha, my daughter, Mia, and my other daughter, Morgan. We would sit at the dinner table, we would eat, and we would talk about what we thought about the houses. We would literally go around the table and say, how do you rank this house?
And we would keep
10?
A notebook.
How do you rank this house out of 10? So everybody had their ranking. Well, I ranked that one this one. I ranked that with this one. I ranked that this one. And we was like, listen, if we're only going to go after the ones we all can agree on.
Have the highest rank.
So there's something powerful. Here's a ministry moment, but there's something powerful about the power of agreement. When you're on one accord, especially as a family, especially as a husband and a wife, but when you bring your children in on that and they agree, I just feel like God gets involved and the favor of God can begin to fall on you when you're in agreement. So we just agreed, and so we said so Robin called all of the other real estate agents and the people that lived in the house at the time, because some of these houses were still occupied by people. They were just selling it, about to move. So she set up all these dates. I think it was like that weekend? This was probably like the next few days.
Yes, this was really quick.
We was moving. Let me tell you something. Hey. We wasn't shucking and jiving. No. We was moving. We was looking at these houses. So we started looking at these houses.
Before he starts, Mario has slipped in 2 houses that was completely outside of our price range.
But I had to see them.
The first house that he ever sent me, that was the house he said he loved. And I said, I love that house too, baby. But it is outside of our price range. But my beautiful husband here, he still slipped that house, as well as a couple of others, to Robin and said, we want to go see it anyway. And I was looking about like how I was looking at the Cabin Fever house. Why are we going to go to some houses, especially the one that we already fell in love with just by looking at the picture, and it's outside of our price range, just to go up there and get our hopes all up and know that it's outside of our price range? I didn't want to put our family through that. Look, I didn't want to put myself through that. But he wanted to go see it, and I said, fine. Right. I said, let's go on and see it. And then we going to just say, oh, it's nice. And then keep on going, because I was like, this is no way we are going to be able to, get this house. It's outside of our price range.
Okay. Right. So we went to this one house, one of the houses that I sent.
Oh.
Let me tell y'all.
Tell the people,
I got to put my Alabama swing in that. Y'all. Listen, the house was nice. But what sold you about this one house was the backyard.
Oh my gosh! People put a lot.
The landscaping, everything that was in the backyard was set up so nice. I'm talking about it had fountains. It had these incredible. I'm talking about the flower beds and flower arrangements that you see at Walt Disney World. I mean, it was just crazy the way it looked, and I was just like, oh my gosh! Now she loved it. That's her thing. She got like a green thumb. She get out there and plant flowers now. But when she saw that backyard, it had a pond. It had a pond with fish in it.
Let me tell it, babe.
Tell it, babe.
I forget the name of the Dr. Seuss movie. I forget the name. But think about, you know what I'm talking about?
I see it.
I can see it. We might have to link it right here. Okay, it's a Dr. Seuss movie where you see like things in high definition color. That's what this backyard was. And when we looked in the electric, purest blue water of the fountain, I swear, I promise to God, I saw some koi fish, and when they would come up, they would be like, la la la, la la la, and then they would go back in. I was like, oh, I'm just expecting to see the fish like doing all kind of somersaults. This place was magnificent.
It was magnificent.
They did that.
It was magnificent.
I was so glad to see that house because I was like, well, whatever house we get, because I'm thinking about at this time we're gonna have to get a fixer-upper, baby, with our loan amount.
Look here.
But I was like, I'm gonna fix it up, and I want some of them Dr. Seuss koi fish swimming in my pond because I got to have it.
I could have swore the water was chocolate. I was looking around like, is this, what in the Willy Wonka is this?
It was beautiful.
It was just incredible. It was nice. You could tell they spent a lot of their money on the backyard.
So that's that first house.
But the house was nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
So that was one of the house. Now it was out of our price range, but I still wanted to see it.
Yeah.
See, I'm expanding our faith, our capacity to believe.
Because I believe for them, Dr. Seuss koi fish. I'm still believing for them.
So the next house that we went was a house that I sent, one of the first houses that I sent.
That we loved together.
This house, it had, one of our things was that we had to have a wraparound porch, a long wraparound porch. My wife said, I got to have a wraparound porch. I want to put my rocking chairs out there. Yeah. I want to put, she just wanted to be out there, plant flower beds. I don't know what you call those things that you put on the wraparound porch.
Yeah,
and plant flowers in it, the planters. So this house had that. It had the basement. I wanted a basement because I do music, so I wanted to be able to have my own space, my own room that can be totally, meant just for my studio, for me to work and be able to work and not bother nobody else in the house. The
main thing, can I say this? The main thing, we wanted a home big enough for us to start hosting like holiday, functions.
Right.
We wanted a house big enough for all of our family to come in, and if they wanted to spend the night, we had more than enough space and more than enough rooms to be able to do that. And this house, we're gonna go ahead. We named all houses, okay? You know how we are.
This
is called the Dream House.
This house
had everything that we could ever dream of, okay? The leased house that we were coming from, it could probably fit inside the Dream House 3 times because the lease house was itty bitty. So this Dream House had the interior we wanted, the exterior we wanted.
Hardwood
floors. He loves hardwood floors. And let me tell y'all something. Although there weren't any Dr. Seuss koi fish in the pond, when we walked into the backyard, we said,
"Oh, you got it." When we walked out, of the back door, it had a screened-in deck or porch. Yeah. Then you walk out of that, and now you have a deck that's not screened in. So you have a screened-in deck. Then you walk out, and it's connected to a whole nother deck. Then you go down the stairs. And then it had like a patio with is it pergola? It
was a patio, and then you had a pergola out there.
A pergola
then
with
you had a fire pit out there.
The pergola had a fire pit.
And then there was
then there was another fire pit in the backyard.
Now we come on, y'all. We came from a slab. Y'all know what I'm talking about? That's what we had at the lease house. So we was like, listen, now remember, this is the house that Mario sent, and he said, I love this house. And I said, yes, baby, I love this house too. And now our daughters, I told Mario, we don't need to be going to no house that's outside of our loan amount, because now my 2 little girls, oh, this my room. You know how they running through the house. This my room. This my room. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we done got their hopes up. But we came home. We saw a couple of other houses that day. But let me tell you, we were bougie by then because we had seen the koi fish. We was like, that house was nice, but it does not compare to this dream house that we just saw. So when we came home, we had some pizza, and we all went around the table and ranked the house.
And did our rankings of houses that we looked at, between those houses.
That's right. And so the Dream House came out as a 9 out of 10. The only reason it wasn't a 10 out of 10 is because it was outside of our price range. So moving forward, the home buying process, you guys, if you ever have been in the home buying process, like, it can get tiring because you keep going to houses house after house. There was one house that we went to. We called it the Mickey Mouse house. It's not because it resembled Disney World at all. It's because it was so deep in the trenches that when we got into the basement, here go little Mickey, little mouse. We opened the door.
It was a little, not a rat, it was a little mouse.
Let me tell you the story.
And it got the scatting.
No. Tell the story. No, my life flashed before my eyes, y'all. We had opened the basement door, and there he was, staring at us with his little red, bulging eyes, showing his teeth. The real estate agent, Robin, bless her heart, she sees the mouse, screams, and jumps up on some ledge and leaves me and my little girl Morgan just to fend for ourselves. And I'm looking at this little bitty mouse, and I was like, man, he gonna kill us.
This thing was about
so he was looking, and I was looking at him, and I said, Morgan, because remember the real estate agent, she done hopped the highest, she done jumped like 6 feet so that her feet ain't even touching the ground. So she left us, she's above us. Ain't enough room for us to jump up there. So me and Morgan and I, we're backing out slowly because we don't want no trouble. Because we came in on his territory. This is not our house. We backing out.
Crazy.
And here go Mario. Mario, when he enters into a room, like, he's there because he just takes up space. So as Morgan and I are strategically making sure, I have my hands up to Mr. Rat, Mr. Mouse. I said, listen, we don't want no problem. We don't want no problems. Here go Mario. What y'all doing? And he bust in the door. Morgan and I'm sorry, baby, but we pushed him out the way. We said, move.
I was like, what?
We ran. And he's like, this little bitty old thing. I said, it looks like Splinter from off of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was terrible. So anyway.
Man, hold on. I jumped in there, saw the little mouse. I was like, this little fella, I picked it up. I began to pet it. I was like, wow, you look like the mouse from Green Mile. It was just a beautiful little creature. I just picked it up, took it outside, and I said, live your life. Live your life. No, I didn't do all of that. I added all that in there. It just dipped somewhere, and it was gone. After that, I was just like...
And I was praying that a tiger or something would come and eat that little beast. Tried to kill us. And so, after Mario had rescued us from the monster... here come our agent that was 6 levels ahead. She jumps off, like she had descended from a cloud, right? She jumps off the ledge and she was like, oh, okay. Do y'all want to see the rest of the house? We was like, no. And we were like, and where were you when the monster was about to kill us? So we all laughed about it. She laughed about it. So you got to have fun, and that's what we did. So every house that we got so many stories, but every house we went to had like a story, and we would always rank the houses, and we would always, and this is what I start getting. Every time we would go see a house or houses, I noticed that my family and I would always compare it to the dream house.
Right.
And I was like, oh my god.
So that was like our bar. So whenever we would say, we like this house, we rank it this, we rank it that, but it ain't nothing compared to that dream house.
To the dream house. I'll say one more funny story. You wanted me to do one more funny story about his house?
Go.
I remember this one house that I told y'all I know when I have no intentions of telling anybody, I'm thinking about getting out.
I'm trying to think what house
you finna find out. It was that godforsaken house that had the backyard look like the graveyard from the Night of the Living Dead.
That was next to the dog trail.
Yes. Listen, he said it right, y'all. Okay, so do y'all know those communities that have like a dog trail or a walking trail? And it's very nice when you don't live next to the walking trail. Child, people was
everybody and
their mama. They can look over and see the house. They can see what you got going on. But let me tell you something. That backyard, when they was walking their dog and looking over to see, they was probably looking over as a teaching moment. Hey, this is what you shouldn't have your backyard looking like. That backyard looked like a graveyard. I'm pretty sure that I saw a couple of graves myself. I'm pretty sure I saw a stick like this. That made a cross.
You did.
I looked, and me and my daughter Morgan, so Mario and I think I went into the house for like 5 seconds. Mario went in there. My daughter Mia went in there with the agent, and I think that the inside was workable, right? I think it had the number of bedrooms, and it may have had a basement, but I didn't care nothing about them bedrooms or basement, because when I walked out there and I saw all kind of dog graves, I saw cat graves, I saw little squirrel graves, and everything was covered in just leaves. I was like, I'm scared to take one step into the backyard lest I die. I thought that something was gonna grab me like this, and I would have to bind the devil. That's where the devil lives. That I believe the devil was underneath them leaves, and I said I ain't got time to be getting up and praying in the wee hours of the night and look out my backyard and start seeing hands coming up. No, not me. So that's another story. What can we call that house? We already got the Mickey Mouse house.
I guess you could. I don't know. It was.
I'm gonna call it the Night of the Living Dead house. That's what it looked like in the backyard.
The backyard was bad.
Yeah. So
it was bad.
You win some and you lose some, but yeah, we were getting weary. We actually made an offer on one house.
Yeah, we looked at several other houses.
Oh yeah, we looked at a lot.
It's a house we didn't mention. Incredible Hook House. It was green. It was close to. We called it every house had a name.
Every house had.
This house was. It was beautiful.
Green.
It was green. So we called that Incredible Hook House. I don't think we got around to looking into that one.
No.
Yeah.
We didn't.
They just gave me a solid no. I still want to look at it, but they gave me a solid no.
Actually, I think that you asked to look at it and somebody had already put an offer on there. Like at this time, we were the only people out there daring enough in the middle of a pandemic that was shopping for houses. At that time, it was a seller's market. Right. So there was a lot of buyers, and it was more buyers than sellers. When it's a seller's market, you guys, you already know that you got to come quick. Make an offer that the seller can't refuse, because it's somebody 60 seconds behind you that will offer, and it's just like that. It's just like let's see who wins. Let's see who wins. So this the last house that we'll talk about is there was a house that we made an offer on, you guys. Yeah. My daughter Morgan, that was our junior real estate agent, because she was pulling up some houses. She was following houses like on Zillow, and she was able to get alerts when a house first got on the market.
Yeah. She was working at that.
And this is like in a 2-week, 3-week time frame, you guys. Now a lot of time has went by, right? And so Morgan was like, Mommy, Daddy, look at this house. It just got on the market like an hour ago. You know what I'm saying? Before she came and told us. We looked at this house, you guys. That just on the pictures, based upon the pictures, it looked beautiful. Mario house. Quickly called Robin and said, we need to go see this house. She was like, I'm on it. I'm going to call the seller's agent and see when we can get a visit, right? And so we were like, oh, yeah, we going to get this house. We didn't even see it yet. We were just getting tired of looking. We was like, we going to get this house. We going to get this house. Make a long story short, we was able to see the house the next day because they were already booked all day long. The first day it came on the market, booked for showings, right? So the next day when we went, I never forget. Next day we are looking at this house, right? We had to wait because it was somebody looking at it before us, and then we couldn't even stay there a long time because it was another
it was
family.
Cars lined looking at this house.
So we was just like, Mario was like, listen, you like this house, Maisha? I was like, yes, baby, I like this house. We put in an offer. Robin told us, right when we said we want to put in an offer, she was like, yeah, guys, they already have 7 offers and they've already accepted one. Had been on the market one day.
Now, it was about 2 houses that we did like that, where we would put in an offer and then it would be like multiple offers that was already made to it. Because it was one house that where you walk in, remember the living room had like, you kind of step down a little bit into the living room. That was a different house too.
I don't even remember that.
You don't remember that house? But we made an offer on.
We only made an offer on one.
But we wanted to make an offer. I thought we made an offer on 2 houses. Mm-mm. Okay, well, but I knew that the houses that we wanted, it was just like they were just going like hotcakes, man. I mean, it was just like, dang. So what we gonna do? So basically, here go me. I kept dibs on Dream House. I just kept looking at Dream House. I kept saying, man, this house is nice, man. And I think one day we just rolled by it without our agent, without Robin. I was like, let's just go and just ride by it again, just to look at it. Listen. So we went and rolled by it, and every day I was checking it. I was just looking at it, see if anybody bought it, see if anybody.
He was checking it.
I was. They wasn't. I was the only one that was really checking on it. It was perfectly in the district we wanted. The only thing about it was the price.
The only thing about it.
So one day, I looked at it. I was at work.
Okay, so you want to say this right now? Okay. Yeah.
I was at work and I looked at it, and it had dropped down like $10,000. It had dropped down some G's. I'll put like that. It had dropped down some G's. It still was above our price range, but it had dropped down. And I was like, whew, in my heart, man, I was like, God working. God working. I called Maisha. I said, babe, the Dream House. Look at the Dream House. The Dream House, it done dropped down. And she was like, babe, but it's still out of our price range. So she was like, well, let's call Jesse and let's see if we can increase our loan amount.
Now, who does that? Now, let me tell you. Maybe y'all do because y'all balling and y'all got it going on. But back then, for the Houstons to be like, man, let's just call the bank and see if they'll give us more money. That was that's pretty miraculous for us to be able to do that. And guess what, y'all? Mario said, yeah, let's call him and let's see. So do you want me to do the reenactment?
You can do the reenactment of that.
Okay, I'll do it. So we get on the phone with our loan officer, Jesse, and we like, Jesse, he like, hey, Houstons. So that's what everybody calls us, like Houstons, right? Houstons, yeah. He was like, hey, Houstons. And we was like, hey. He was like, what's up? Y'all find a house? We was like, well, we've been looking, but none of them compare to this Dream House right here. And he was like, oh, what's the address? So we give him the address, and he pulls it up. He was like, oh, yeah. That's a nice house.
That's it. That's
Whoa.
what he said. That's it.
He said, that's it. Thank you, baby, for reminding me. He was like, that's it. And we told him about the schools and stuff like that and the ratings. He was like, oh, Houston's, yes. I love this house. This is a good house. And we was like, yeah, it's good, but it's outside of our loan amount. And he was like, well, what are they asking now? And that's when Mario said, well, they came down. He said 10,000, but I think it was more like 20.
Yeah, it might have been 20.
Yeah, they came down considerably.
Yeah, it went down a lot.
And so I told, our loan officer, I was like, well, they came down and they're asking for this amount now. He was like, and I said, is there any way that we can increase our loan amount up to the amount that they're asking for? Now, I will say this. At that time, we qualified for an FHA loan. So we had to stay within the parameters of the FHA loan, okay? And they had their own rules and guidelines, you guys.
Right.
Jesse, since you done dropped this name, let me go ahead and say, Jesse said, okay, and you can hear him typing, right? And he was like, oh yeah, we could definitely do that, Houston's, but the only issue is with you guys having FHA, the loan limit for that part of town is, he was like, oh, he gave us a number that was a little bit above what they were asking for. He was like, oh, y'all good. Where you want me to send the pre-approved letter? We said, excuse me? He was like, oh, yeah, we good. You good. And he told us one thing. He was like, Houston's. He was like, if you guys go up to this loan amount, it's only going to increase your mortgage payment for like $100 or something like that. He was like, don't major on minors. He said he pays for his kids to get the top level education because where his kids live, the public schools weren't as good. He said, but if you can get into an area where the public schools are the 9 out of 10, like this one was at the Dream House, he was like, shoot. I would invest in the house so that my children can get the best education. And he was like, you know, Houston's don't major on minors. And we was like, I mean, our mouths are like, oh. And he's like, okay, where you want me to send the pre-approval letter? Now that we had the increased loan amount pre-approval letter in hand, the next call we made was to our real estate agent, Robin. And we was like, Robin, we got more money. We want to go see the dream house again. And Robin was like, great. And it's because not only did she want us to be happy, but
she loved the house. I mean, remember, she was an appraiser. So when we looked at this house, there was nothing bad that she said about it. Look, any little thing that I saw that I was like, but what about this? She was like, oh, that's nothing. It was almost like, boy, be quiet. Like she just tossed it if it was any little complaint that I might have had. But it was just like, even she loved it. So again, there was an agreement that we had, that our kids had, and now we having an agreement with our real estate agent, and then we got our loan officer agreeing with us. So go ahead.
Yes, that's an important part. And remember, we still haven't told anybody, guys. So that the people that you just heard, that's the only people that knew we were even doing this.
Yep.
And so, like Mario said, Robin, our real estate agent, she was taking. I remember her taking pictures. The first time we went to go see the house, she supposed to be showing us the house. She drifted off around the way and was taking pictures of the retainer wall and taking pictures of the landscaping, texting the pictures to her husband, talking about, baby, I want our house to look like this. And we like, what? So when we said we want to go see the dream house again, she was like, great, let me set it up, and I'll call and talk to them about, how many bids or offers are on the house, if we could still see it, right? And we was like, okay, cool. Now, here's the kicker, guys. She made an appointment, being Robin. She made an appointment for us to go see the house. And she told us it was like on a Tuesday, at 5:00 or whatever. Right. I forget the exact day. And we made that appointment. We was there right on time. And we pulled up to the house. And Robin gets out the car. She's of the Caucasian persuasion. So she was red, like she was embarrassed. And we was like, oh no, what's going on? Right. And she was like, I messed up. We were actually scheduled to come tomorrow.
The next day. Yeah.
She said, but I'm going to go and see if they'll let us see it today. Okay. Now, Robin also had her mama in the car at that time. And her mama was real cool. She was really sweet. Well, by the grace of God, the sellers said, oh, sure, they can come into the house today and take a look or whatever. Now, this time, because we was in agreement, and remember, every house that we had saw, we always ranked it, but I start seeing our family always compare these houses to the dream house. So I'm a person, I don't want to live in regret. I didn't want to get anything, and then 6 months later people start saying, yeah, this house is nice, but it's nothing like the dream house, right? So I don't want anyone to live in any type of regret. I was like, look, let's just go for it. So we get to the dream house. We're a day early, and they allowed us to come in the house.
They allowed us to come in the house. Listen, I got this. I got to say this.
Okay.
We were supposed to be there. I'm just echoing. That's what I do. I echo Maisha sometimes. We were supposed to be there and come see the house the next day. Mm-hmm. So we're showing up to these people's house who are selling their house, probably chilling in their drawers, watching the game or whatever. But it was just the favor of God. They literally walked out of the house, went over they was real cool with their neighbors, walked over into their neighbor's house, and they let us go through the house and see it on a day that we weren't even supposed to be there.
We was not supposed to be there.
All right.
So we walked through the house, you guys, but this time, since we had saw how spectacular it was the first time, this time we took our anointing oil.
What?
we walked through the house and we were praying. I was praying, Father God, if this is the house that you have for us, I pray that you would, bless us to have this house and make it easy for us, Lord God. Mario, we read a scripture in the Bible about when Jesus said, if people receive you, you leave your blessing there, so Mario, as the head of the household, right? He took it serious. So I remember he stood in the living room or at the top level where all the bedrooms was, and he was like, I leave my blessing here.
I was walking through that house. I was anointing walls. I know that's probably crazy to some people.
It's faith.
But it was faith.
Yeah.
And I just was anointing the door panels, and I was just like in the window. I was just like, God, I leave my blessing here. I pray for your favor, etc., etc., etc. So
yes, and I want y'all to remember that, because it ain't never a good Houston testimony unless it has like a twist. So y'all hold on, we're getting there. Okay, there's a great twist to that. And so we said, Robin, after we saw it, we said we want to make an offer.
Absolutely.
She was like, fantastic. She said, now here's what I know. Y'all ready for this? She said, there's already an offer on the house, but there's a contingency on it. In order for the person that made the offer on the home to buy the home, they have to sell their home in another state. It was actually Florida. Okay, so they had only a set number of days to be able to sell their house in Florida in order to proceed with the loan to get the dream house, right? That's what a contingency is. It's contingent on you being able, that person at the time being able to sell their house. Can I tell y'all something? Robin told us it's under contingency. She said, but the contingency ends tomorrow. Look at the time frame. Come on. So she said, listen, we want to make sure that as soon as the contingency expires tomorrow, we quickly submit our offer and things like that. And we were like, okay, well, here's our offer letter and things like that. And, not our offer letter, our pre-approved letter. So we had the loan amount that they were asking for. We was like, here you go. Yep. Submit our information. So the next day comes, and guess what? The person that made the initial offer on the house, unfortunately, they was not able to sell their house. So now it's a bidding war, okay? Robin lets us know. Y'all should know by now, Robin is our real estate agent, right? Okay. Robin lets us know. Okay, Houstons. She said, I've talked to the seller's agent for the dream house. She said, there's 3 other offers in. Y'all make the 4th. So now there's 4 offers. She says the sellers are going to make a decision at 7:00 tonight. It's like 12 noon right now, okay? So in 7 hours or so, that's when they're gonna make the decision on which of these 4 offers they're going to accept, right? So here go Robin. Robin said, okay, it's like a Friday. She's like, me and my family are heading up to the cabins. She was like, so I need y'all to do something for me. We were like, what? She said, all 4 of you, all 4 families that's making an offer on the dream house. She was like, y'all are basically offering the same thing. She said, we want to make our offer a little bit more attractive. And I said, I'm a business person, right? I was like, what did you have in mind? She said, well, what if we gave more earnest money? Earnest money is basically your good faith, right? I'm giving you this money, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, to show you that I'm really serious about buying your house, okay? Right. We had a set number. We had a set amount of earnest money that we had allotted, because if it doesn't go through, the sellers are not obligated to give you back that earnest money. So you will be out that amount of money, right? So we had budgeted a certain amount of money for earnest money. Then she said, and what if we didn't require the seller to bring as much to the table, okay? Because a part of the agreement was that the seller would cover a certain amount of costs for closing costs, and that we would cover the remaining closing costs. And so if we took a decrease in the seller contributing to the closing costs, that means that your sister and your brother here would have to cover whatever the seller did not come to the table with. And Mario and I, we was like, oh. And so she said, we just want to make our offer stand out. We want to make sure that the sellers are like, wow, their offer is more attractive. And we said, you know what, Robin, we'll give you a call back. Let us talk to our lender about it. So we got on the phone with Jesse. We're on three-way because Mario is at work. This is a Friday afternoon, right? So we get on the phone with Jesse. Jesse is our loan officer, okay? And we said, hey, Jesse, we put an offer on the dream house. He was like, good for you. And I said, but, there's 3 other offers, not including ours. It's a total of 4 offers on the table. We're all pretty close together. Is there a way that we could bring more money to the closing table? And if we could put more money down for the earnest money and all that stuff so that our offer would stick out? And Jesse gave us, at that time, some of the best advice in the world. Do you want to say what he said? He said, look, Houstons. It got real quiet. See how quiet it got just now? He said, look, Houstons. He said, this is when you have to learn when to hold them and when to fold them. Yeah. He said, I could have millions of dollars in the bank. He said, but I'm not putting down more earnest money than I've already allotted for. And he said, and whatever the sellers don't bring to the table, you got to bring to the table. I said, oh, because I had, we had an amount. And he said, you know what? If you and Mario, he was talking to us, if y'all have made an agreement on what y'all are willing to do and what y'all not willing to do, he said, you got to hold them.
Stand on that.
You got to stand on it. He said, but you know what I would do? What did he say what he would do, babe?
He said, I'll write them a letter. Now, this is what's up. Now, here's just what I'm telling y'all. Favor of God is all in this. So, Robin, our incredible agent, Rockin' Robin, the angel. She ain't an angel, but she an angel to us. She was able to talk to the real estate agent of the people that own the house. And they were leaving because of family emergency, right? So Robin came to us and told us, like, we had inside information of why they were having to move and stuff like that. Just some stuff that was going on in their family, and they had to move to another state, so they had to sell the house to be close to a family member. So she gave us that inside scoop. And after Jesse told us to write that letter,
he said, I would write a letter. He said, I would tell them a whole sad story. I would tell them why I really wanted this house. And I never thought about writing a letter to do that, but he advised us to write a letter.
Listen, 5 minutes after we got off the phone with Jesse, I had already sent Maisha about a page. If not, I already sent her a letter. I was at work like, I'm talking about I ain't never seen my thumbs move as fast they was moving on that phone. They was like, you would have thought I was playing a video game.
Listen,
I typed up.
He did.
I poured my heart out. I typed up, I knew about their situation. I talked about how we are praying for them. I shared about how I had went through something in my family.
No, he did not. No, you gave a rough draft. I put in all of that.
No, I said, I remember it. I said a lot. I poured my heart out. And then I sent it to Maisha. And then Maisha poured her heart out. And she was just...
I was like Kermit on the typewriter. Listen, I was so glad that Mario took the first stab at that letter, because when Jesse was on the phone talking about I would write a letter, I said, oh, Lord, I don't even know how to start a letter. I just was like, man, what am I supposed to say? How do I even start the letter off? But when we hung up with Jesse and Mario was like, hey, Ish, I'm about to email you this letter real quick. I already started. As soon as he said, y'all should write a letter, Mario was already on it. So I took what Mario had said, and then the Holy Ghost just descended like a dove upon me, and I was gone, y'all. Formatted it perfectly. It was the angel of the Lord himself took one of the feathers out of his wing, dipped it in ink. I think he wrote that letter. I think Gabriel, the archangel, wrote that letter, because that was a good letter, babe. That was a good letter. Wasn't it a good letter?
It was a great letter.
So listen, so after we had fine-tuned the letter, I sent it to Mario. I was expecting Mario to call me and say, oh, baby, oh, this letter is so good. You did so good. Oh, me and you, we wrote a great letter. You know what? Mario called me back and said, okay, I done sent the letter to Robin. I said, did you even read it?
I ain't wasting no time.
He didn't waste any time. So he sent the letter over to Robin, and she said, okay, Houston. She said, we'll talk, around 7. And at that time, it was like 3:00 in the afternoon.
Right. I was still at work.
He was still at work. So when he came home, I'm not going to lie, y'all, we had such a peace. I remember that there was such a peace that, Mario and I will laugh together all the time, but it didn't seem like we were in a bidding war. Mm-hmm. It didn't seem like somebody was about to reject us or accept us. It just seemed like a regular day. And I remember just talking and kind of laughing with him, so much so he had his cell phone in another room. And I think my cell phone was in another room. It wasn't in the room that we were in. Right. So we're just laughing and talking. And I remember hearing the phone ring, because his phone had a distinct ringtone at the time. I said, baby, I think that was your phone ringing in the studio. And so Mario was like, oh, let me check. Soon as he went to go check, I looked at the time, and it was like 8:00 in the evening. Mm-hmm. And Mario said, it's Robin. I got a missed call from Robin. And so we called her back, y'all.
I called her back. I put her on speakerphone. And she said, Mario. I said, hey, Robin.
She called me Lil Mario.
She said, is Maisha there with you? And I said, yeah, she right here. I got you on speakerphone. What they say, baby?
She said, congratulations. They accepted y'all's offer.
Hallelujah. I almost caught tears just thinking about that moment, man.
She said, they
accepted
your offer. We said, hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
So we just shouted, and I said, Robin, did you give them my letter?
Oh my God.
And she said, did I give them your letter? She said, I believe it was the letter that made them decide that you were the family they wanted to have a house. They accepted our offer.
And we got the house, y'all. The house that we live in today is that dream house. And I can't tell you. I can't tell you everything. God moved us from a 3-bedroom house to a 6-bedroom house. 3 levels. Like I said, a screened-in deck, a deck without a screen, 2 fire pits, a patio, a pergola. This house is our dream house. Everything that she wanted, everything I wanted, everything our children wanted. Here's an incredible inside scoop. All of our stories have a twist, have something at the end. When we first started this journey looking for the house, the very first house, this is right after I told Maisha no. But the very first house that I sent to Maisha was Dream House.
Yeah, it's our house.
It was the very first house that I sent to her was Dream House. Yeah. When we were looking at those other houses, when we tried to put an offer on that one house that had like 7 people looking at it, during those times, I had a talk with God. I remember it like yesterday. I was at work. This is before they had dropped the money on this house. This was before we asked to look at it again. This is before we asked for them to increase our loan amount. I literally remember it. I was at work, and I was by myself, and I was just crying to God. I was just like, God, we can look at every other house, but there's no house like this house. I was like, I want that house, God. I was like, whatever I got to do. I literally remember telling God, like, I'll work another job. I'll do whatever I got to do, God. I want that house. Please give us that house. And I remember it like yesterday. I heard the voice of God say, yes, I will give you that house. Now, when God told me that, we were still looking at other houses. So that I wouldn't forget, or so that I wouldn't, when this thing ended or happened, or the end result came, that I had proof. You know how you can email yourself? I emailed myself the very thing that I heard from God was, yes, I will give you that house. I never told Maisha. I never told our daughters. So nope. So through these days, we're looking at other houses.
He didn't say a word.
We put a bid on the house. We still looking at other houses. We still coming home and rating the houses. And in my heart, I'm like, God, I know it. I heard you say to me. And I just kept looking at this house. I just kept looking at it till I saw the price drop. I kept looking at it till we went to Jesse and asked for an increase. I kept looking at it till we went to Robin and said we wanted to put an offer on it. Look at it again first, and bless the house. Before all of that, God had told me, I will give you that house.
But he didn't tell me.
But I didn't tell her. I didn't tell my children. I just kept it to myself. And I just said, God, if you're going to do this, you're going to do this. If you're going to do it, you just got to show me. Because it was still hard for me to believe. Because it was just all of the different things that had to shift and change in our favor for it to happen. I just was like, sometimes you be thinking like, did God really tell me that? Or is that just me, telling me that? So I wasn't sure. So when Robin called us that night and told us that they accepted our offer, that's when I know I was in tears. I pulled out my phone.
He showed me.
And I said, babe, look at the date on this email.
Yep.
I said, God told me that he was going to give us this house.
That's right. That's right. And I was like, you didn't tell me nothing.
I didn't.
He kept it quiet.
God, man.
But God. Now I want to say something, because I know it's some people out there who might be kind of like me, business person, money person. And it may seem like, well, how is that really a testimony? You guys had, the money, the finances and stuff like that. The reason it's a testimony is because we have not always been at a point of having things easily, given to us, or being super prepared. This was such a faith walk for us because, like Mario had said earlier, in 2017, we had tried this process before and it did not go through, you guys. It was just 3 years prior.
Yeah.
We tried this process before and it fell through. Now, one thing about that home, and y'all hear me when I say it, the home that we tried to purchase in 2017, it's not too far from the house that we have now.
Right.
But it was literally a lateral from the home that we were renting.
Right.
And then they were equal in comparison. It was the same amount of square footage,
right.
Really small, same number of bedrooms. There really wasn't any type of advancement. Though we would have been happy, that we had our own home. Now looking back, we would have been settling. And it was obvious, it was apparent that God was not with us in 2017 during that house buying journey, because every door that could be shut was shut. And that taught us the difference between knowing when it's God and knowing when it's the enemy. Yeah. Okay. When it's God, nothing works. Nothing. When the enemy, he does little irritating things. You know what I'm saying? When it's God, you can try everything that you could sell your left arm. This is my left arm. You could try to sell the left arm, and they would say, nope, don't need no left arm. Nope, don't need that. We don't need anything. It's just not going to happen. And we knew that, what, Lord, we would just have to try later. And so we waited 3 years. And within those 3 years, God gave us wisdom on how to prepare financially. He did increase us. I got to give this testimony too, because I know that people out there who are either on that home buying journey or have been on it before, it's something about when you're able to be self-sufficient and not needing any help or aid from anybody. That's 2 Corinthians chapter 9, right? It's such a blessing to add to the testimony all of the costs, because once you submit your offer and they accept the offer, it's not like, okay, it's free and clear. You've got to pay for a home inspection. You've got to pay for an appraisal. You've got to put down a down payment sometimes, like we did. You also have to come to the table with closing costs. So it's just not like, oh, I can afford the mortgage. Like there's a lot of money, right? That's involved. Can I tell y'all something? Remember, we kept this quiet. We didn't tell anybody.
We didn't tell nobody.
God was able to give us every single dollar we needed, from the home inspection to the appraisal to the down payment to the closing costs. Everything. Between Mario and I.
Everything.
We didn't have to ask. Come on now.
We didn't have to ask.
We didn't have to ask nobody for nothing. We didn't have to get no gift letter. We didn't have to get no loan from no relative. Nothing. We had everything in our bank account.
Praise God. Praise God.
Now, I'm not trying to say that if you got to get a gift letter or hey, whatever, however God leads you. But one of these good days, we're going to tell our testimony about how God restored us, restored our marriage, and restored our family. And then you'll see why we cry and we shout just to be able to tell you guys that God not only gave us our dream house, but he gave it to us with dignity, that we was able to hold our heads up and say, oh, you need that? We got that. You need that? We got that. We came to the table. We had everything in order. Matter of fact, we beat the sellers to the closing table. We had everything in order because we serve a God of another chance after another chance, and he is well able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all that you can ask, think of, or imagine. We did not tell our parents, our moms, that we had bought the house until Mario told his mom after we closed, after we signed on the dotted line, and after we had the key in hand. That's when he told his mother.
Now, my mom stays in Alabama. Yeah. So that's why I told her.
He told her.
My wife's mom stays in the same city that we was living in before we moved here. Our son was home. Yes, Quay was home. He was home from college, from school, and the way we did it was just so we stunned it a little bit. I ain't gonna lie.
You want to tell how you did it?
I just gotta tell this real quick, then we'll sign off.
Okay.
But we invited Maisha's mom, my mother-in-law. We invited her over and our son over.
It was a Sunday
for a Sunday dinner. That's what we told them.
Sunday brunch.
Yeah, we said come over for Sunday brunch. Yeah, it was real early. Yeah. Sunday brunch. When they came over, they pulled up and we had the U-Haul truck. Let me tell y'all.
We had the biggest U-Haul truck that you could get.
It was me, my wife, and my 2 girls. Let me tell you something. I invited my son. I want my son over because I wanted him to help. He didn't know what he was coming to help for. I had literally moved almost our whole house by myself.
And we put in that one truck.
In that the biggest U-Haul truck you can find. I had that. I started early. I got up early, man. We was moving that thing in. But there was nothing better than calling my mom and telling her. There was nothing better than seeing my mother-in-law, who has always rooted for us, and our son pull up and be like, what is this U-Haul truck?
We were like, surprise!
And we was like, surprise, we're moving. Got the house! So on moving day, they came over. We ate a little something, packed up the rest of the stuff, and all together, we went to our house. And they pulled up. That was the first time my mother-in-law had saw the house. That was the first time our son had saw the house. And they was just like, I think your mom started crying. Yeah. And they just couldn't believe it. They just couldn't believe it. God is faithful.
He's faithful, y'all.
He's brought us a long way. We wanted to share this story to give y'all guys hope. Yeah. To give y'all encouragement. God is still in the business of doing miracles, of giving breakthroughs. I mean, y'all have heard our story about us meeting each other. Now y'all heard the story about our house. We got so many more stories to come.
We got a lot of stories, and sometimes we'll be in the house eating at our kitchen table, and I'll look at Mario and I'll say, "Baby, God done gave us that house," and we'll be sitting down there, cause it's still like a dream to us, y'all.
It's still like a dream to us. I mean, I wake up.
We've been here 2 years.
2 years. I wake up and like I walk through this house and I still be like, man, look how big our house is. And it's just a joy. You know, this is November now. You know, we're able to do what we want to do. We're having Thanksgiving here at our house. We're inviting, you know, my side of the family, my wife's side of the family. We're inviting friends. We're inviting people over and like, listen, Thanksgiving is at our house. Come, let's fill this house up with love. Yeah. And just share with what God has given us and be a blessing to other people. So we hope that you like that story. We pray that it bless you, encouraged you. Believe.
Yes, only believe, y'all.
Only believe. Only believe. This is Mario and Maisha. We love you guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. God bless.
Love y'all.
Bye-bye.